Hey everyone, welcome back. So if you're someone who has been working diligently on building or growing your personal brand, but you're just not seeing the results that you had hoped for or that you had heard that you would see, you're not alone, and this video is going to be the perfect one for you. We'll be sharing 5 reasons why your personal branding efforts might not be working as you had hoped, and of course, we'll be sharing some ways to get it back on track and make it work for you. Stay tuned. So first reason why your personal branding efforts might not be working for you, you're not meeting your customers or your potential audience where they are. You may have heard of TikTok recently, and a few years ago, all the rage was Snapchat. Those are great platforms that have had a lot of buzz and hype about them, and they're great, they're wonderful. But unless your target market tends to be a little bit younger, we're talking very, very young millennial or Generation Z, they're very into entertaining, funny videos. If you're not targeting those people, you probably don't want to waste your time, at least not right away, on a platform like TikTok or Snapchat. That might be something that you grow into eventually as you build your team or you find a little bit more time and get your personal branding efforts down to a nice system and a nice flow. LinkedIn is not a platform that's quite as fun to talk about as Snapchat or TikTok, but let's be honest, especially if you're in B2B, that's probably a great place for you to be. Twitter is also another one that people tend to forget about, especially if you're attending a lot of trade shows or conferences. So the point is, you gotta go where your audience is. Because me being on Snapchat all day, but advertising a B2B product, there's gonna be a disconnect. So we find this happens a lot with platforms, and it's important to just do a little bit of research, become a participant in the platform before you start to create on it and invest a ton of time, just to see what the conversation really is on these different platforms and where you might be able to fit in, if at all. Similarly, another reason your personal branding efforts might not be working is because your messaging isn't resonating with your audience. One of the most common things that I see is people think because it's a brand, it has to be super professional, super polished. They need to invest a ton of money into high quality videographers and equipment, and they need to make sure that every single word is carefully calculated. And it's important to be prepared. It's important to be professional, of course. But the thing is, people connect with real people. That's why it's called a personal brand, because people want to get to know you authentically and who you really are. So one of the best things that I can recommend, especially if you're writing written content like a blog or a long Instagram caption or a long LinkedIn post, is to read it back to yourself out loud or to somebody else even before you press publish. If it doesn't sound like how you really talk in a business setting or to your friends, maybe you need to change some words up, cut it down, cut some of those run-on sentences, and make it sound more like you. Video is a great way to connect with your audience, and you don't need to overthink it. You don't need a fancy camera and equipment and lighting. Really, you can get started with this. You can get started with a nice smartphone, a big open window, or maybe a ring light if you're feeling really fancy. It doesn't need to be super highly produced, and often you'll actually see audiences really resonate and identify more with the kind of quicker, more authentic content versus something that looks more like a commercial. Number 3, you might just not be measuring success. So this is an interesting one. A lot of times people say, hey, my personal branding efforts, they're not working. This is not what I had hoped. And I'll say, what was your goal? Or what kind of success are you seeing? What kind of numbers are you seeing? And they don't know. And that's okay. It happens to the best of us. But my recommendation is, as soon as you decide, hey, I really want to start building my personal brand, start by benchmarking. So start by going into your Facebook analytics, your Instagram insights, your Twitter analytics, whatever platform you're going to be active on, and just pull some initial benchmarking numbers. So take a look at your total engagements for the month, take a look at your follower count, take a look at your engagement rate, number of clicks that you're getting over to your website, those kinds of things. And just write them down into a document. You can create a fancy spreadsheet if you want to, but you really don't have to. And what I want you to do is every single month, maybe it's the first of the month, the last of the month, just take a look at those numbers again. You'll start to, hopefully, if you're doing it right, you'll start to see those numbers increase. And if they're not increasing, you might want to take a look and say, okay, where can I improve? Where should I refocus my efforts? Another great tool to use for measuring success that is totally free is Bitly. So tracking your links is incredibly important. If you're linking over to your website, if you're linking over to your sales page, your contact us page, whatever it is, you need to know where that traffic is coming from. So using a tool like Bitly will allow you to see how much of it is coming from social media, how much of it's coming from email, and so on and so forth. Now, this one might be hard to hear, but you might just not be making it a priority. Unfortunately, there's no magic wand that I can wave and build you all the most perfect personal brand. It does take work and it does take time to grow and nurture. So if you're not putting in effort and time into building it, it's not gonna grow overnight by itself. So make sure that you are treating it just like you would treat any other commitment that you have. And I understand this is often the one that can easily be pushed aside, like, oh, I don't need to play on Facebook or LinkedIn today. But just make it a part of your routine as best as you can. I always tell people start with 10 or 15 minutes a day. Maybe it's 15 minutes while you're having your coffee in the morning before you're off to the office. Maybe it's 15 minutes during your lunch break, or 15 minutes right before you pack up and head home for the day. Whatever works best for you, just make sure to commit to it and put it on your calendar. I know for me, I don't get things done unless it's on my calendar. It's so easy to forget. And when it's on my calendar, it makes it feel like it really is a meeting or a commitment that I have. So just make sure to put the time in and you'll hopefully start to see some good results from it. Now, last thing that I see far too often is people focus only on social media. I love social media. I speak to the power of social media all the time, and you can't deny how incredibly impactful it has been. But it's not the only thing that affects your personal brand. Let me explain. Just think about the last entrepreneur or business that you heard about and that really piqued your interest. You probably didn't go onto Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn to search for them first. Maybe you did, but I know that I personally go straight to Google. And that's where I'll get all of their social media links. I'll learn about their website. I'll learn about their Wikipedia page if they have one. That's really the portal to everything for me. So if you don't know what's being said about you on Google, you're at a serious disadvantage when it comes to building your personal brand. So we here at Marple have a solution for you. It's an app that allows you to take a look at what other people see when they search for your name on Google. We'll send you notifications whenever there are new search results that pop up about you, and you'll be able to mark them positive or negative, or even report them to Google if there's something malicious or really negative out there. So make sure to sign up for free at marple.app. You can plug in your first and last name as your search term, or you can even use something like a business name if you are a business owner, or if you have a company out there that you'd like to keep track of as well. Your first search term is free, so it's super easy to get started over at marple.app. And one other thing about Marple is we also search images and videos too. So multimedia content is super important when it comes to personal branding. We understand that it's not just text-based anymore, so we got you covered there. So we hope this video was helpful for you. Be sure to leave us a thumbs up if it was, and subscribe to our channel. We post new videos every single week, and we will see you soon for the next one. Bye.